Hey, what's up, everyone? Everyday Say here. So, today I just kind of want to talk to you guys about my personal experience with COVID. Just go through the stages and the things I felt and so on and so forth. So, first off, I want to say that, for those of you who have family members who passed, just want to say my condolences. And for those of you who have it, I hope you're on the road to recovery. For those of you who are out and about, I hope that you guys are practicing social distancing and that you're wearing a face mask. So, I kind of want to talk about where mine started. So, I was, just normal every day. I was at work and I started getting a cough. And it wasn't like I was trying to cough up a lung. It wasn't like, it wasn't like that. It was just like, like here and there it would come. And I didn't really think much of it. And so then I started having some lower back pain. Now, I'm very athletic. I work out at least 5 times a week, so I'm always doing something. And that day I had been flipping a tire that was about as tall as me, about 6 foot. And so I started sitting there. I was like, well, it could be from me flipping the tire that my lower back is hurting. And And so I was like, okay, well, that's what it's from. It's probably the tire I was flipping. So the point where I knew something really was wrong with me was when I started getting dizzy. I don't have headaches very often. I don't get dizzy very often. I mean, there's times where I jump up real quick and I'll get dizzy, but after a second, I'll stabilize and I'll be fine. But this time, like, I would be sitting down like this and I would be dizzy. I would be standing up and I would be dizzy. I'd be standing up and I'd be dizzy. So it didn't matter what I was doing, I was dizzy. And at that point I was like, maybe I should go tell my job that I'm feeling this way. So when I went into the medical office in my job, they immediately sent me out. They did a test. They took a swab about that big and they stuck about that much of it into my head. It felt like it went in through my brain, touched my skull, and came back out. They stuck it really far and they twisted it in. It was in there for a minute. And so they sent me out. And honestly, I was sitting here, I was like, why are they tripping? I was like, all I got is like a cough, a little bit of dizziness, and my back hurt a little bit. Most of the time they just throw medication at it. Like, oh, take some aspirin, you'll be fine, And so they sent me out. And so that was like the next 2 days were probably the hardest for me personally. When I woke up that morning, like, I felt like someone was doing like this to my head. Like, I had a headache out of this world. And I don't, like I told you, I don't get headaches and I don't get dizzy. I was dizzy and I had a headache. And I mean, it was bad. It was very, very bad. And I knew something was wrong because I don't get headaches. So I ended up taking, that day, I don't like taking medicine like that. So that day I just kind of, wrote it out. And then the next day my head was hurting again. I was like, this is crazy. So I ended up taking some aspirin or whatever. Headache went away. And by this time, it's about Friday. So my symptoms started on a Wednesday. And by about Friday, I had gotten my test results back. And they called me. They said, hey, we just want to let you know that you got your results back. Are you doing okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm doing fine. And I was like, yeah, you got COVID. I was like, oh, man, God dang it. So I'm going to be honest with you. So for the majority of my COVID experience, it wasn't bad. It really wasn't. I would say the one thing that I probably struggled with the most was the dizziness. That's what was going on with me. And it wasn't until maybe like 6 or 7 days after I tested positive for COVID that I actually lost my taste and lost the smell. And it was kind of weird because I had gotten these wings and I was like, yeah, I'm about to smash these wings. And when I got them, I was like, for some reason, I can't smell them. I'm like, that's weird, because normally, I mean, they just, they get all up in your face, and you be like, yes, but like these wings, they weren't smelling like that. Like I couldn't smell them. I was like, that's weird. So I took the bag of wings, and I went like this, like I'm this close to it. I don't smell anything. I'm like, whoa, 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 this is crazy. So I grab one, hurry up and eat it. I can't taste anything, and I'm like, man, I'm like, I thought I was gonna be able to breeze through this pretty easily, and so I ended up dealing with that. But like I said, for majority, probably from day 1 to roughly about day 6, day 7, like the only thing I was dealing with was a headache, and that went away when I took some Excedrin, and I was dealing with a little bit of dizziness. I never had a fever. I never got a fever. I never woke up and I was sweating. I had some chills. I had some night sweats but I think it's because I had too much clothes on. But I had that, and so the biggest scare for me personally, and let me say this before, I had periods of time where like my chest felt tight, but it wasn't to the point where I'll be like, like I couldn't breathe. Like I could still breathe, but I might just have to take a deep breath. I might have to, like I could still do that, and it might be a little bit of resistance, but I still could do it, and I could breathe like normal, like I'm doing right now. And so the scare came on I think it was day 8 or 9. So I'm almost, out of the quarantine where they allow you to be around people and stuff like that, which I was told it was 10 days. I heard it was 14, but they told me it was 10. So I'm just sitting at home and I'm just chilling, doing nothing, watching TV, and all of a sudden, like I get this crazy chest pain. Honestly, it felt like someone had taken my heart and just went like this. And like I felt it in my chest to the point where like I started grabbing my chest. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, what the heck? And like it went on for about 30 seconds. And I mean, it was excruciating. Like it hurt. And honestly, I was so afraid. Like, I don't know if it was from that or if it was from something else, but immediately like dizziness set in. Like I got dizzy. I started hyperventilating. Like it was probably something similar to like a panic or an anxiety attack. And like I had to calm myself down, and what I think it was there's so many muscles surrounding your heart that there's you have muscle soreness, and I think that's what it was. I think because the whole time I only had like lower back pain, and that went away after like day 2 or 3. And so then I figured like, okay, this is probably just another muscle ache that I'm having. And so that day, like that really had me on edge. It really did. And I ended up calling the hospital, and I called my doctor, and I was calling people, and they're like, as long as it went away, you're fine. I'm like, okay. It did go away. It took like 30 seconds and it went away. And so after that, even today is pretty much day 10 for me personally. So I'm allowed back out into society. I don't have to quarantine anymore. But even now, I will say that on day 10 that I haven't fully regained my sense of smell and taste. Like it's there, but it's kind of like on and off. It kind of balances. Like there are times where I can smell something, then there's times I can't. There are times I can taste things, and then there's times that I can't. And so, with it being day 10, it's just a slow process to getting back to normal life. I get to go back to work on Monday. I still have the weekend. I'm still gonna, keep my distance away from people, wear my mask at all times in public, like I always did. But yeah, so that was really my experience with COVID. I never got a fever. I didn't really have chest pain like that. Didn't really have any problems breathing except for that one time. I had muscle aches here and there. Um, like I said, the most prominent thing for me was probably I had a cough, I had congestion, I couldn't breathe, my nose was stopped up, and dizziness. Dizziness lasted just about the entire time that I was in quarantine. Um, so that was that. But one thing I will say is that I noticed um, that things kind of came and went. It wasn't like with a cold, you get these symptoms, you have these symptoms all the way through until you get better. That wasn't my experience with COVID. With COVID, it seems as if like one day, you have you got muscle aches and stuff like that, and then next day you don't have any at all, and you feel perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with you. You feel like you're just a normal human being again, and you never had COVID. And then 2 days later, you can have back aches, headaches, dizziness. You can have all types of stuff. So it was kind of interesting because I feel like it came in and then it went. Then it came, then it went. Then it came, then it went. So that was my experience with COVID. I want to implore everyone to make sure that you're practicing social distancing. Make sure you're wearing a mask. Um, for those of you who have it, I pray that you guys have a speedy recovery. And for the lost ones we have, my condolences to you all. Be safe out there. I love y'all. Peace out.